We'd like to welcome you all here tonight to our virtual teletown hall, whatever we're going to call this, Meet the Candidate night for the Weber County Republican Party. This is the Weber County Commission Seat C race, and we have our three candidates with us here. Commissioner Jim Harvey, our incumbent commissioner, and he waves, even better. We have Brenda Doris from Ogden Valley. Thank you, Brenda. And Mayor Toby Molesky, former mayor of Pleasant View, here with us as well. So thank you all for joining us. My name is Ryan Wilcox. You'll have Ryan and Jake Sawyer who are moderating tonight on behalf of the party. Again, it's good to have you join us, and we're going to get right into this. We're going to ask each of our three candidates tonight to give us a little introduction. Tell us what you're about, give you 3 minutes apiece, and away you go. And we'll go ahead and start tonight with Brenda. Brenda?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be engaged with this process. My name is Brenda Doris, and I have served in the military for the last 20 years. I rose to the highest enlisted rank through my hard work and dedication. I have proven myself to be very successful in stressful situations. My background lies with emergency management and response, specifically with environmental compliance, federal regulations, and also serving as a search and rescue controller for some time as well. I spent 15 years pursuing my bachelor's degree while balancing a military career and a family. And then 4 months later, decided to get an MBA at a top-ranked business school, all while working. And then 2 months after that, after graduation, I decided to get a second master's degree in business analytics at the University of Utah during in a part-time evening program. While I was there, I was fortunate to connect with the Hinckley Institute and ended up interning with a legislator, Representative Eric Hutchings, during the general session, and I learned a great deal about public policy. But something that always came back around is data. Where's the data? How do we drive policy using data? And that's where I think I differentiate myself with the other candidates. I have a background in this. I'd like to continue to work towards my second master's degree. I also am unlike Jim in that I'm not a long time resident of Weber County. However, I think that gives me an advantage. I come to a problem without any preconceived conclusion. So I don't work backwards from a conclusion and make the data fit. I may not have all the answers, and I may not have all the answers tonight, but I rely on data both qualitatively and quantitatively. I do sound research, and I rely on constituents like yourself to help guide my decision-making process. And I'd be honored to serve as the next Weber County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. And Mayor Molesky.
Tell me when I can go.
You're good.
Thanks. My name is Toby Molesky. A little bit about me. I've been married for 32 years. Well, in July. Have 2 adult kids with spouses. I live in Pleasant View. I currently have 4 small businesses here in Weber County, along with some rental properties. So believe me when I tell you that I'm sensitive to property taxes, because I am. As far as my experience that I believe makes me qualified, I've served on the Pleasant View City Council, and then I served as mayor. And while as mayor, I served on the Weber 911 Emergency Board. And when I was on that board, they were looking at switching the computer systems. I had some concerns with that because I wanted to know what it was going to ultimately cost the taxpayers to switch. And I did get beat up a little bit about it. Then ultimately, we did switch systems. And because the district had quite a bit of cash in, it ended up and paid up front for fees, we ultimately saved pretty close to $2 million of the taxpayer money. Then as chairman of the 911 district, there was a deficiency with Morgan County paying their fair share for the services that you and Weber County currently pay on your property tax bill. So we brought them up to speed, and now Weber County's not doing the subsidy or subsidizing their service anymore. Then after my career as mayor, then I was appointed by our county commissioners and local mayors to the UTA Board of Trustees. And they gave me one job basically. And that job was to get the $7 million from UTA to fill the gap for the Ogden Bus Rapid Transit. And I got the job done. I also took that opportunity to work on getting Front Runner going to the north, but that hasn't much gone anywhere. So I'm pretty aware of what goes on and what probably should and needs to be done, and I look forward and hope that I can serve our county well. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. And Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. It's great to be with everybody tonight. I'm glad that we're doing this in a safe place. I've loved serving as a Weber County Commissioner. It's the only elected office that I've ever done. I'm not a lifetime politician, but worked in the private sector for a long time. I started with a little company years ago called Morris Travel, that most people would know them today as Southwest Airlines, and then transitioned over to the Weber County Fairgrounds and had that facility for 23 years. Then was elected and in 2017 became commissioner. So I've been serving 3.5 years. We have a great team at the Weber County Commission. It's been wonderful. I'm married, of course, to my wife, Jane. Been married for 34 years, and we have 5 kids. 4 of the 5 are married and 1 grandchild. So I'm really proud about that. I really love, it's been very rewarding as a commissioner. We've worked really hard on messaging people. We've worked really hard on the intergenerational poverty with the Center of Excellence. We've formed alliances with Davis County, the first time ever to have a borderless economic development department. We've done very well with Ogden City. In my time working with the county for 23 years, never have we had a better working relationship with Ogden City, and now all the cities. The mayors of Weber County from the 15 cities, the majority of those mayors and city council members are supporting me. I'm grateful for that. I'm serving for them on the WFRC, or the Wasatch Front Regional Council Board right now, where we're working with the road funds to do some big road improvements up this way and get those monies finally funneling into Weber County, namely 5600 West in Roy, and a little further. We're also working on the 8489 interchange, and also doing some kind of an overpass or underpass on 12th Street, where all that traffic gets stopped by trains. And so it's been very rewarding. I also serve currently on the library board. I serve currently on the Mosquito Abatement District board. I serve on the Powder Mountain Water Sewer Improvement District board. And I've got a great relationship, a great working relationship with Commissioner Gage Frohr and Commissioner Scott Jenkins. Our staff is happy. They're productive. That's been a great thing to come in and bring some continuity into the county. And and I wanted to thank all of you too. I've had so many already reach out to me and say, Jim, we're supporting you and we appreciate what you've done. They've been very, very kind. And
looks like we're out of time, Jim. Thank you. We've got a couple of questions right here out of the gate. This will be a very short answer, one of those 60-second or less answers. And this might sound funny, but we want to hear what you believe the proper role of government is. And think about this in context of county government. Mayor Molesky, why don't you start with you this time?
The proper role of government is to create a safe place for our citizens to live, provide the necessary necessities as far as water, sewer, and the items that we need, and get out of the people's way and let them make money and let them prosper. Thanks.
Thank you. Same to you, Commissioner Harvey.
thank you. The proper role for us is to do a good job and trust. For me, it's trusting the people that we've already got employed. The county has wonderful people who do a wonderful job, and they have great ideas. And so to trust their judgments, even though we're the confirming body that does that, we just trust what they do. And normally speaking, just because you have the power to get elected doesn't necessarily mean you have the power to make all the good decisions. So we trust our people, just like everybody who works likes to be trusted for what they do. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Brenda, what is the proper role of government?
Well, it's not to infringe on everybody, on day-to-day individuals' rights or liberties. It's always to promote freedom, happiness, looking out for the health and welfare of our citizens, our day-to-day lives, just to make sure we're there, we listen, and we invest in our future.
Hey, a follow-up question. This is again a 60-second answer. We'll start with Commissioner Harvey this time. What is the proper role of a county commissioner? How do you view, and you may have answered this in your last one, but this time, what is the proper role of a county commissioner?
I think to lead with honesty, integrity, and with the experiences that you've had in the past and apply them to government. For me, it's a business approach to running government. We're Weber County Corporation. We run the Weber County Corp as a business right now, and to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer funds. I'm really excited to talk more about how we've paid off debt, how we've paid off bonds, and how we've leveled some of the funds that weren't that way before. So we'll get into that later.
Okay, back to you, Brenda.
Well, I think the proper role is kind of a mix between executive and legislative powers. It's to balance our budget, make sure we're looking out for the health and well-being of our county and fiscally in both policy, to drive prosperous businesses, to allow people to live their life day to day without government interference, and just to promote the good quality of life that we enjoy here in Weber County.
Okay, Mayor Molesky.
Thank you. I think both Jim and Brenda have hit it right on the nose, and it's to be good stewards of our money and be ambassadors for our county and for our residents and move our county forward and prosper. Thank you.
Okay, our next question from our county delegates, they really want to know what are you most proud of, that you've accomplished in your prior service. So if you name one thing that you are, really, sometimes it's hard to toot your own horn, but do that a little bit here. Tell us what you're most proud of in your prior service, whether that's in a previous office or maybe something you've currently done as commissioner right now, Commissioner Harvey, but we'll go ahead and start with you on this one.
Thank you, Ryan. I think the thing I'm most proud of is not being a control freak and empowering the people around me to make great decisions, holding them accountable if they've made some wrong decisions, but allowing them to grow through leadership. A great leader surrounds himself with people who can take his place. And I've worked so hard with that, and it's paid wonderful dividends in all the departments in Weber County. I've loved it. I've loved watching the people around me grow and progress. I'm really proud of that.
Okay, we'll go straight up to Brenda.
Hi, so I'm really proud of my military experience, and one of the things I'm really most proud of is being that 1% of women in executive leadership positions. The Coast Guard, unfortunately, has only got 15% of women as far as active duty, and then out of that 15% of women, it's 1% that actually make it to E9, the executive level leadership position. And it takes a lot of hard work, and to do it in the time frame that I did, I was aggressive, well, not too aggressive, but I was career oriented. I worked on pursuing additional education. I wanted to learn from everybody. I took that in stride. I wanted to be better in my career, in my life, in my family. And I took my military career very seriously, and as I will in my next phase of my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Molesky, what are you most proud of?
I think I'd have to be most proud of the results that I got on the several boards and commissions that I sat on. And as you know, being a mayor, you don't get paid a whole lot, next to nothing. And so it was a lot of work, and I put my heart and soul into it because I felt it was the right thing to do. And it's something I really feel good about and that I accomplished. Thank you.
Hey, and this next question is really a follow-up to the last one. And conversely, what do you wish you had done differently in your service, your prior service? We'll go ahead and stay in the same order for this question.
This is being very honest. I wish I would have spent a little more time. I love working. I love working. If there's one thing that my wife's a little critical of is that I'm always working. I should take a little more time for myself to exercise. That's about as honest as I can get. I wish that I'd taken a little more time be a little more physically healthy. But the other areas are really good. But that's the one thing right now, that's being very vulnerable, I recognize, but that's for me, that's the one thing.
Okay, Brenda?
I think maybe I could have approached a couple of things a little different looking back on it. I was in charge of overseeing or chairing the group that does personnel development. I always strive to make sure we are allowing our junior members different opportunities and educational opportunities, on the job training opportunities. And I think maybe I would have done things a little bit different in terms of gathering data to support my conclusions and my decisions. I think I would have taken a look at that a little bit differently. But overall, I really enjoyed my career, and I don't regret it at all. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, Mayor Molesky.
The one thing I would have done differently is not join so many of these committees to serve on, not realizing that I didn't have enough time for everything I wanted to do, and that was spend time with my wife. So when I ran for mayor, I didn't tell her that I had filed for mayor until sometime afterwards. So this one here, I told her plenty of time so I could avoid sleeping on the couch for a couple of weeks. So I fixed that, but thank you.
I apologize for the unprofessional laughter. And
it's okay. It happened. So
okay. The next question relates to what your immediate priorities would be over the next 90 days. Your first, 100 days is the presidential benchmark. What's the first thing you want to tackle as a county commissioner? And we'll go ahead and start right back with you again, Toby.
So the first thing I'd like to try and tackle is evaluate all levels and departments in the county to try and help lower costs and reduce property taxes. And we need to be more efficient, not saying we're not efficient, but more efficient and effective in our operations. And as Commissioner Harvey mentioned, our county employees are talented, they're skilled, they're dedicated. And it would be my job to make sure that they had the right tools and the support to get it done.
Okay, Brenda?
I would agree. I think the budget and the property taxes are main drivers for me personally. I think we need to really work within our budget and find efficiencies. I'm also worried about, we had the repeal of tax reform, so I'm worried about the potential of losing state funding here in the near future. So making sure we're conservative fiscally, we're sound, we're looking at line items and seeing if we can at least stabilize property taxes for individuals, because discretionary income is absolutely critical in a good economy.
And Commissioner Harvey.
When I came into office back in 2017, our general fund balance was in the tank. I'm so grateful that we took the counsel of Ricky Hatch, our clerk auditor, and Scott Park, our comptroller, and we started listening to them. And now we have a healthy fund balance. Thank goodness, especially amidst this coronavirus. We have a very healthy fund balance. So we've also leveled out some of the funds that were borrowed against in the past. Those are now on an upward or at least a level field. So we're really good there. We do have another fund that we need to address, and we will be doing that. Last year, 94% of the people in the cities, the people who live in cities are 94% of the population on the general fund line, will see a property tax decrease on that line because the people of unincorporated were paying a little too less for their property tax. That was me.
Okay, looks like we're out of time on that one, Commissioner. The next question relates directly to one thing you just mentioned. We are in the midst of an unprecedented, we're calling it a pandemic, a downturn in the economy as a result. I know the legislature just wrapped up with a budget that is clearly going to need to be revisited in the next few months. I'll just tell you I'll preface this a little bit. My first year in the state legislature was the last recession that we had. So going out of 2008 into 2009, the very first thing we had to do after we were sworn in was cut every budget by 18% minimum. And then it continued for the next few years. So what do you look at first? Knowing that budgets are going to have to be reconsidered, what do you look at first? And we'll go ahead and start with Brenda.
You know, I have to say, I think there's room for possible savings in criminal justice areas. We need to continue to put the scary people in jail. But I think there's an opportunity there that we can look to see what diversions we could possibly do. Trying to look at cost savings as a whole. I think there's three kind of components to that, is like the mental health piece, the substance abuse piece, and the just criminals. And I think we need to just look at the whole system and how we're processing people, and making sure if we can find some cost savings, not putting scary people out on the street, but seeing if we can do cost savings there.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey.
Well, we're in a good spot, but I think moving forward, 2.5 years ago, we started working with Davis County to do a joint economic development venture. That took a little while to do, but last year, July 1st, we signed jointly with Davis County an economic development package with EDC Utah. We're having a lot of action, at least we were before going into this, with potential businesses moving into the area. We're very healthy. I know that those who are informed already know that our industry has 7,000 less houses than we have people ready to fill them. So we have some strong numbers headed into the future. And so I'm optimistic. I know that this is a horrible thing we're going through, but I think we'll come out very resilient. And I'll use my team of people around to make the decisions all together as a team approach. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Maliski.
I think one of the things we look at to cut initially, if it's required, if the housing market and the employment market doesn't bounce back, is all non-essential services. Maybe we delay some things, but it's got to be looked at. And I'm optimistic as well. I think people are going to get back to work. I think they're going to get back to buying houses. I think they're going to get back to moving. So let's hope and pray that people get back to work quick. Thank you.
Based on the number of questions that we received about financial concerns, this is clearly on the mind of many of our delegates. The next question is going to stay in that realm, but is what, given all of the needs that the county has, what would you prioritize as the most important critical need that you would say can't be cut? What is the most important need we need to address, the first priority in the budget? We'll go ahead and start with Commissioner Harvey.
I can't answer that question right now. We've been working together with all the elected officials and all the department heads. We work together as a team, and we make sacrifices together collectively on that. So we get better results by doing that. And so I think for us, it would be a team effort to how we solve that problem.
Okay, Mayor Maliski.
Ryan, could you repeat the question, please?
Yep. What is the most important priority from a funding perspective? So the one thing that you believe is critical that we can't cut.
I think probably the most critical thing, if I had to pick one would be the sheriff's department. I think if we have to cut, we look at other things, but law enforcement needs to be paramount in a time of need like this. Thank you.
Okay, Brenda.
I would agree. I think operational costs are something we can't immediately cut. We have to really carefully consider. I think 911 emergency services have got to be there. We cannot risk jeopardizing our public for that, and also supporting our law enforcement and mental health services as well. I think those are really important for communities, and we just can't do without those.
Okay. Our next question relates to the COVID-19 situation that we're facing, but in a little bit different angle. With so many people waiting for and relying on the government to fix things like COVID-19, and this is primarily, admittedly, not out of the state of Utah necessarily, but out of our national government, who's passed, I think we're all supposed to get $1,200 checks or something to deal with that right now. We just spent $2 trillion out of Congress this week that we don't have on this. But with so many people waiting and relying on the government to help fix things like this, how would you respond? How would you, being in office, promote us, getting us back to being self-reliant? And we'll go ahead and start with Brenda.
So I think from a Weber County standpoint, what we have been doing is very good in terms of developing organizations and in terms of business loans of Utah program, developing Northern Utah response team initiatives to sort of work together in partnership and collaborate and make sure businesses are aware of this. So I would say continue that battle rhythm per se as we look into longer terms and we may or may not expect, and then also put into place that are tax friendly policies for especially small businesses that are under 50 or struggling. Hospitality industry is really taking a dive. So just continue pushing forward on some of the economic programs that we are engaged with right now.
How do we promote self-reliance? Maybe is the simplest way to do that. Toby?
I think the best way maybe to help our small businesses get back going, which is going to help the general population get back to work, is offering some type of tax cut or tax credit so they can get back to work, not have to worry about a few things. And then with all of the emails that I've seen for the loan programs from Ogden City, from Weber County, and where to go, maybe a dedicated resource center that could help people fill out the paperwork might really help as well.
Hey, Commissioner.
Thank you. You know, our team has done a great job. If people go to Weber County government, webercountyutah.gov, we have those in place right now, right on our homepage for the small businesses to go there and to get on their feet with loans, or there are even some grants and some things actually opened up today. And they'll close on Friday. So there's a little warning when this airs that to get online, go to webercountyutah.gov. Right on the front page, it helps with those businesses on that. But that's what we've been focused since this even started, is to make sure that the impact on our small businesses and large businesses is softened as best we can. We know there's a lot of people, but I do want to put a plug in right now where some businesses now are hurting, other businesses are thriving. And so working with the Department of Workforce Services, there's quite a few jobs that are available for people right now. So if people have got some problems right now, they need to go to the
Looks like we're out of time there, Commissioner. Apologies. We have our next follow-up question. We need to put like a 60-second thing on here somehow and make it easier next time. So the next question relates to that. How do we reduce taxes in the county? Is that a realistic thing that we can expect, or is that even possible? How do we do that? So can we reduce taxes, and how? And we'll go ahead and start with Commissioner Harvey this time.
Thank you. You know, I've had Scott Jenkins and Gage Froer were both really big on we're going to cut. And once they've seen the budget, they love what we're doing. They both support. We've got a great team as far as the budget goes right now. And the way to cut taxes is to grow smart. 66% of the growth in Weber County are from within our own county, our kids. And so we have a lot of natural growth happening. So where are we going to get those jobs for that? So that's why we've pushed so hard with economic development and bringing new businesses into town. When I say new businesses, new qualified businesses that pay a little better. So people who are underemployed can get maybe a job with a little more money. And so that little more money translates into maybe new houses, more businesses that buy things. They pay property tax. And so what you do is you grow it on the.
It looks like we're out of time again.
I love the clock idea. Love the clock idea. I'd respect it more if I had it.
Set that 60-second timer on your phone, maybe. We'll go ahead and go to Brenda for that same question. Can we reduce taxes, and how do we accomplish that?
I think we definitely can reduce taxes. I think hitting the nail on the head with creating new taxable income, new businesses, attracting it, having business-friendly policies. But we also got to look at the other end too, is reducing our COGS, reducing our cost of doing the business. So I think we have to go both ways on that, and just look to reduce property taxes and taxes in general.
Okay, and Mayor Molesky.
The reality is the property taxes are never going to go away. And if they are reduced, it's only going to be by a little bit. And in order to even reduce them a little bit, we're going to need an aggressive economic job creation plan. Back when I was with UTA, I worked really hard to try and get the right-of-way going for the front runner, with the main goal of bringing a station to BDO, which is our largest employment hub in the county, and that was killed. And if I'm elected, that's going to be one of the top priorities, is to get that going, because that's going to be necessary to ease the burden on the property taxes, is with job creation there.
Okay, our next one is going to be related to that. So I'm glad you guys talked about this in your answers. As it relates to economic growth, one of the more controversial elements of Utah government has been the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and really some of the tools that our cities and counties have used that are perceived by many to offer an uneven playing field to new businesses coming in versus those that are already here. And what, this is through tax subsidies or a tax increment funding, which is often called. What is your position on using tax subsidies and tax increment funding that leave this quote unquote uneven playing field for businesses that are already here in Weber County? So what's your take on that? And then what is your plan to accomplish economic growth without those artificial incentives? We'll go ahead and start with Mayor Molesky.
I'm not a big fan of those, because it's just like you said, it's unfair to the current business that's already here that didn't get to take advantage of these subsidies or these tax credits. There are a lot of tools in place through the WFRC and the transportation funding that we all paid that third quarter cent in for road improvements, which could help in that instance. And that would also help some of the existing businesses. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one. And I appreciate the question. I'm sorry I couldn't answer it any better.
Commissioner Harvey.
People who understand finance understand that there are areas in which you do a CRA or an RDA that comes and brings great value. For instance, this year we'll be picking up a couple more million because of the thoughtfulness of people back who, with the DDO days, are now the BDO days, and that's coming. Those are now rolling off, and those are helping Ogden City and the Weber County. And so we have a team, an audit team and a finance team that now reviews every one of them to make certain that they're done smart, not just haphazardly. So we have a team put together that reviews all of these now, and we make a good mathematical, data-driven approach to that answer. So we're doing really good there.
Hey, Brenda.
So I have to be honest, I don't necessarily know the right answer to this question, but I know the way to get there is to involve stakeholders and to get the data needed to drive a decision. So although I'd love to comment on that, I really feel a little bit weak in this area specifically, because there are unintended consequences to every decision. So I'd want to take a little more time, review the data, make sure we're on track. I don't want to promise something and then not deliver, but I definitely am concerned about it. But I also don't have the data in front of me to actually make an educated decision.
Okay.
Not a very good answer, but an honest answer.
Oh, no worries. We appreciate it. We've had several questions about government regulation. Again, I think most of the questions that came in, and this is where one of those struggles, most of the questions that came in really would apply to statewide candidates, right? To a state legislator candidate. Counties don't control as much of that as people think they might. But there is a fair amount of county code, right, that does involve regulation of businesses in particular, and small businesses. So how can we reduce government regulation, particularly in the small business arena, and intrusion into our lives for small business owners? And oh, sorry, I didn't tell you who was going next. I'm just sitting here waiting for you to start. Brenda, you're up first this time.
So I'm very much, I don't like being bureaucratic. I think we put way too much red tape. I believe there's a balance between that, public safety and then regulations. I think we just need to be really, really smart about what we do, and let the voters let us know and let us guide us. The delegates guide us on these things. I don't want to make a regulation on a business that isn't needed. Is there a real need to do this? Sometimes we often put duplicate regulations in place, or you know, I'm really hesitant on putting new regulations just for the sake of new regulations on business. I think we got to be smart about it, and we got to engage our constituents.
Hey, Mayor Molesky.
So that's more of a question, honestly, Ryan, for some city races, because they're the ones that have the zoning power for the municipalities. The county, of course, has for the unincorporated area. But there's one organization that comes to mind, and that's the Weber Morgan Health Department. They are the ones that make the regulations countywide and have the power, and probably more power than even the cities, to regulate businesses and stand in the way. A while back, that board was changed, and they took the majority of the elected officials off, and now it's mostly appointed officials. So in my opinion, I think that was a mistake, because a lot of the accountability that the elected officials held to their constituents is now gone, and that's probably one of the more powerful boards, and that's one to look at to actually reduce regulations and get out of people's way so they can't do business. But it has to be in a safe way, of course.
Okay, Commissioner.
I'm glad he brought that up. I'll speak to that, because I was a part of that with serving on the health board. We had a board that had a majority of elected officials. I was in favor of having a board that had medical officials on it, people from the school, medical supplies, and the hospitals and the midtown clinics, and even dentists. That's where those are the people who make good health decisions. And I think that's why when you look even with this coronavirus in advance, we have Weber Morgan has about the same population of Davis County, but the number of infected rates right now are half. So between our messaging and the decisions made, I fully support the Weber Morgan Health Department. But I think other things, I'm a property rights guy. I want people to be able to do what they can with their own property. I love that. And, I'm also a gun rights guy. I think people ought to be able to hold and bear arms. And so those are my things. And I think I made it under 60 seconds this time.
Just barely. Okay. Our next question relates to some of the more recent events. Not the coronavirus per se, but what we just experienced a week and a half ago with the earthquake. We had another one yesterday up in Idaho that was, quite significant. And this relates to how prepared you believe the county is for a major disaster. We live right on the Wasatch Fault. It goes about 400 yards up the street underneath my neighbor's house. How prepared the county is for a disaster, and what are the major, if there is a major liability or area that you feel like we need to improve in order to be prepared for such an event, what that would be. We'll go ahead and start here with Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. Yeah, I was hoping that. I was a member of the EMS team for Weber County for it's more than 2 decades now. When we've set these things up, we have great preparations thanks to some of the CERT teams that have been out there, the trainings that have been done. We have consistent trainings for emergencies within Weber County. I think from a countywide system, we have a great communications now with our cities. We have a good communications directors. We've messaged better now with openness than we've ever have before. I'm really, really pleased with how we'd be prepared in a disaster setting like we're going through right now. We're in good shape for the shape we're in.
Okay, Mayor Molesky.
I can't answer how prepared the county is, because not being in the county, no, but I believe they are incredibly prepared and ready. I can tell you here in Pleasant View City, we have an incredible CERT program, especially on my block. I've been to the other blocks, and I know my neighbors, my fellow residents in the city, if something happens, we are prepared.
Okay, Brenda?
Again, I wouldn't be able to tell you with specifics that we are fully prepared. But I am a little concerned about the public awareness piece. You know, we don't get, at least I have, this is my first earthquake here in this valley. So it took me off guard. I'm not sure if everybody is aware, has a ready kit, ready to go. So I think in that element, the outreach piece, I think we could always improve on that. And I also understand we do have some aging infrastructure, older buildings. So I am also concerned about that, any debris that come from that as well. So, yep.
Thank you. Final question tonight relates to really what is your favorite part of Weber County? What is your favorite part of living in Weber County? And this is admittedly a softball question, and I've got probably 4 or 5 that I would sneak into there if the answer were mine. So I just want to hear what really do you love about Weber County? We'll go ahead and start with Brenda.
Okay, so my favorite is going skiing in this area. It's amazing. So Snow Basin, looking down on Ogden Valley at the highest peak at Strawberry. Phenomenal skiing, phenomenal atmosphere, phenomenal people, great outdoors, and you know, the people just enhance it. It's always neighbors helping neighbors, and that's where I really like it. The community's faith-based, and they always are there to help you. So that's what I love about Weber.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey.
I love the people. I love the people here. They're just unique. They're caring. They're giving. We have a community that volunteers more time and love than anywhere else in the nation. We are a great, giving, kind people in general that do wonderful things for a lot of people. There are so many champions that serve without recognition, and I'm so grateful to be amongst those folks. That's absolutely our greatest treasure right here in Weber County.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Mayor Molesky.
Commissioner Harvey, you stole my answer, buddy, but that's okay. It's the people. It really is the people. And all the outdoor activities, and especially the one thing that I've been able to do is snow ski in the morning and water ski in the afternoon. There's not many places you can do that, but you can in Weber County.
Awesome. Well, we all appreciate you jumping on. Again, Jake, thank you for helping us run this thing on the other side. We are indeed lucky to have such thoughtful candidates running for the Republican nomination here in Weber County for Weber County Commission. But we, again, appreciate all 3 of you and making this work and taking the time to reach out to our delegates in this very strange but rewarding campaign. So thanks again, and best of luck to all 3 of you.
Thanks. Good luck, you two.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.